friends, in continuation with our discussion on immune deficiencies, we shall have another brief discussion on a group of disorders called phagocytic defects, and this would be in fact the continuation on the discussion of phagocytic defects which we had in the previous presentation. And I would again present a few cases which are real life scenarios to show how phagocytic defects can be diagnosed in clinical practice. Now, have a look at this boy, a 4-year-old boy who came to us with recurrent episodes of pneumonia from 2 years of age. One episode of pneumonia in fact was followed by rib osteomyelitis, and the clinician got a biopsy from the rib and there was granuloma on the histopathology, and based on this histopathology this boy was started on anti-tubercular therapy. And believe me, before he came to us, this boy had received anti-tubercular therapy not once, not twice, in fact thrice. And when he in fact came to us, he had a swelling over the lower cervical spine, and this is what his MRI showed. There was vertebral osteomyelitis, and then we worked up this child further. The nitro-blue tetrazolium dye reduction test was carried out, and as you can see, the control showed normal pigment formation in the neutrophils and the patient showed no pigment formation, confirming a diagnosis of chronic granulomatous disease. NBT dye reduction test is a simple test that can diagnose this condition, and that is chronic granulomatous disease. The message that I want to give from this case is that one needs to think twice before initiating anti-tubercular medicine in children who have got persistent lung infection or a spine lesion in the absence of microbiological confirmation. And then if you see non-caseating granuloma and children are thought to have tuberculosis but do not behave in a usual way, please think of chronic granulomatous disease. Now, this is the second case, a 2-year-old boy who came from Kolar, a place in Karnataka. This boy presented at the age of 1 with swelling over both the feet and high grade fever, and the radiograph showed osteomyelitis involving metatarsal bones. The pediatrician did a very good job. He treated this boy with long course of antibiotics and the boy recovered after 1.5 months of treatment. Unfortunately, 6 months later, this boy presented to the same pediatrician with suppurative lymphadenitis and again required a prolonged course of antibiotics to get better. It was these two serious infections that made the pediatrician think of an immune deficiency, and the boy was referred. We got a workup done. We could see that this boy had persistent leukocytosis, persistent thrombocytosis and very high immunoglobulins. The IgG was 3,335, and because of this profile we got a nitro-blue tetrazolium dye reduction test which was again normal, confirming a diagnosis of chronic granulomatous disease. Now, the third case of the day. 3-year-old boy comes to us with second episode of pneumonia. We start him on antibiotics, but then he continues to remain febrile. A repeat chest X-ray shows formation of lung abscess, and this is where we get again the nitro-blue tetrazolium dye reduction test which is abnormal, and this is followed by a better test called the dihydrorhodamine dye test, which is a flow cytometry based test confirming the diagnosis of chronic granulomatous disease. The message is lung abscess, please think of chronic granulomatous disease. So friends, when do you think of chronic granulomatous disease in your clinical practice? If you see children coming to you with repeated episodes of suppurative lymphadenitis, children with persistent pneumonia who develop lung abscess, children who develop liver abscess, these are the settings wherein one should think of chronic granulomatous disease, and simple tests like NBT can provide you the diagnosis in one day, and you can actually make a difference to these lives.